All right, you're asking for it, so here it is. Listen to this.
I want you fucking laughing at we partners pod, kid. You understand? We in here drinking, singing, swinging, all that shit, dog. We sweating, getting wet, all that.
All right. Welcome to another episode of the DP Quarentimes. I say another episode because I don't have a number. Because numbers don't exist. Time doesn't exist. All I know is every time I see someone, I'm now in this weird juxtaposition as to whether or not I will shake their hand.
Yo,
people are shaking hands again. I'm like,
thought
what
it was awkward before the pandemic.
I was like, so we just gonna bypass the elbow? You reaching that hand out, then I feel like an asshole because even if I shake their hand, I paused first. I just looked at it like, are you sure? Like,
It used to be weird when I was reaching out and grabbing like a fist or something like that, but now I'm grabbing motherfucking shoulders and shit. Like I don't know what the fuck the greeting is.
I almost like I hugged someone without arms. We literally just touched shoulders. I was like, we were about to hug, and I was like, you know what? No.
You gotta do the butt these days.
I'm
Like, you know what I
doing it
mean?
about. I am half of your hosting tandem, Ed Bailey. I'm joined as always with my co-host, Dave Bracey. Say what up to the people.
What's good with you people? We are the Drinking Partners, and if you're looking for us, you can find us on epicastnetwork.com/partnerspod. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, Google Play, and Spotify under Drinking Partners. You can find us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook at PartnersPod. Man, a few years now, hundreds of episodes we've been asking you, and we will continue to ask you, please hop on Facebook, hop on iTunes, rate and review. That's how we know we're doing well. That's how we let others know that we're doing well. And that's how we continue to do well. So please hop on iTunes, hop on Facebook, rate and review.
Listen, I've been saying it. I'm going to continue to say it. No matter what situation we are in the world, I'm going to say it. Here's what it is. All right, you love us. You see us out in public, sort of, kind of, maybe online. I don't know. If you've seen me, you've probably been looking through my window because I don't leave the house. But, you know, when you used to see us out, you would tell us that you love us. Now at the click of a button, we need you to please tell the internet, please tell the world. Tell everybody. Tell us what you want to hear from us. Tell us who you want us to talk to. Tell us what the city needs because this is what we're here to do. We're here to service the city. And as always, this will never change. No matter what we're drinking on this cast, in lieu of rates and reviews, we will accept shots of Hennessy, all right? And we'll figure out creative ways to get those shots of Hennessy. I'm sure there's someone out in the world who's been saving up shot after shot after shot for us. We should have like a 2-liter of Hennessy somewhere in this world just waiting on us. Shout out to Car Guy DJ and the Conways for starting the trend. Shout out to everybody who kept it going. Shout out to everybody who's continued to listen and support, man, as we try to, navigate these waters. We're coming out of it. We just still need folks to be diligent, still be safe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And get out there and take care of yourselves.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? Still mask up. Fuck what the CDC said, man. You don't know these folks. You know what I mean?
I never met nobody who worked at the CDC.
I don't know the bro. I don't know what they say out there.
It's
I
a
don't
coalition.
Know, I don't know who you is, but can we get the 6 feet? I mean, like it's wild, man. Going out in public and motherfucker, you can smell breath again. It's not. I was cool in the pandemic, not smelling breath. Like
I was smelling my own breath. So
I was smelling my own,
and
that's what I was just like, man. Is this what people been subject to this whole time?
Yeah,
like,
I was mad at myself.
It was wild. We getting back to that, but I mean, like y'all getting back to that. The CDC saying get back to that. I'm getting back to these motherfucking masks and distancing so that we can get back to real, to some semblance of normal, normalcy here with Barrel and Flow Fest.
Yes.
September 10th through the 12th.
We should be good by then.
Well, I think
we're pretty good by then. As long as we stay diligent.
Yeah, diligent, right? I mean, and we will be following COVID protocols. Mask indoors and things of that nature. Capacity, keeping that at 50%. Making sure we're outdoors and spread. Still going to figure out the glass, how we going to pass glass and things of that nature. But these are the problems and things that we're thinking of to keep you all safe, and you guys got to keep yourselves safe so you can come through and enjoy this. What do we got? 75 breweries coming through. 40. Black-owned breweries from across the country. That's about half.
Numbers keep going up each year. We add a few.
Yeah, a couple areas. We started out with 10. Then we had about 20, 30. Now we got about 40 Black-owned breweries, 45 collaborations, 16 of which shipped to your door through Tavor, man. We got...
Shout out to Tavor.
Yeah, we got Trillium on the on the other half. We got War Cloud Brewing. Jay Wakefield just dropped in. Run the Jewels. Brew Gentlemen.
That's a big one. I'm looking forward to that.
Brew Gentlemen. You know what I mean? Like there's a couple of hitters out there. Some folks. Trace. You know what I mean? East End. Some of the OGs over here.
You got to mix in some of the old with some of the new. You know what I'm saying? You got to have that good mixture. You know what I mean? That diversity.
It's going gonna be popping, man. 75 breweries, 150 vendors, 5,000 people. Southside works. The zip code is 15203. Come through, support black businesses. Support yourselves. If you are an artist, this should be dropping when we still have a couple of days for submissions. Get your submissions in, man. 75 black artists are going to be there. 4 stages, music. It's wild. It's a monster.
It's a vibe. It's always been a vibe. It will continue to be a vibe. All right, like we need this in the city, and not just in the city. We need this in the world. We need this in the country. We need to expose folks to the industry, expose folks to the breweries that are out there, man. Like we come up in Pittsburgh, Day and myself, doing the podcast, going to all these breweries. We didn't see any black-owned breweries, and then you had to create. You got to be the change that you want to see. Right? You got to create an atmosphere where folks can thrive, and a lot of that is centered around supporting local. And we do that from a national standpoint, but we do, make sure we highlight the local here. We highlight, the black breweries. And that's all brought to you by Farm to Table.
Shout out to Farm to Table, best sponsors. That's how we got these pandemic bay bumps, right? We pay all the artists, we pay all of our staff, everybody that's involved with the festival, top to bottom is paid, and that doesn't happen without sponsors like Farm to Table. They've been supporting this a cast since the gate, man. They've been out
technically day one.
Yeah, they was the first folks that was like, we like you. You may need some funding for this to continue.
They got us in some rooms.
Yeah, shout out to Aaron Hart, the mayor. So, if you're looking to, eat more healthy, connect to the local farms, and figure out how you can affordably eat and find resources in your area. Hit up Farm to Table, Farm to Table PA. FarmToTablePA.com. Again, big supporters. And if you're looking for all the beers, all of the collaborations, we are going to have a few more retailers out. But as of now, and, big shout out to Mike's Beer Bar. They take care of a lot of folks in the area. Big supporter of the local breweries and, the art scene. And every collaboration coming in, all the black-owned breweries, all of the collaborations coming in from around the city will be at Mike's Beer Bar. One easy spot right across from PNC Park.
That's the Connect.
Yeah,
the Connect with some good real estate. You right across from PNC Park. That's some good real estate,
bruh. Yeah, so they got hundreds of beers on tap. But
16 of those will be ours.
16 of those at least will be ours. Man, we got this. It's gonna be something. So shout out to Mike's Beer Bar. Shout out to Farm to Table. Shout out to Work Hard for sponsored as well. And man, if you're looking for tickets, barrelandflow.com.
Yeah, we don't shout out Work Hard. Shout out to Work Hard, man. We got to make sure to do that. But like I say, man, support. We've grown locally, but now we have national reach, right? And I think this episode will be reflective of such. Very excited about this episode. We got our guests. We're lucky to have, and I'm gonna fuck up one of their last names, but I'm going to say Joe Pawelek, brewmaster, and Jen Courier, wine master of Wicked Weed Brewing. Say what up to the people.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Joe.
I'm Jen.
We assume that.
It's difficult to tell our voices apart, and I understand that. So I feel for the listeners right now.
Yeah. If you could see us, it'd be a little bit easier to tell us apart when Jen's in the camera.
Nah, I think they'll know. If they don't know, that means they've been drinking the Wicked Weed. They've been drinking a lot of it while listening to this cast.
Yeah. Well, it's Sunday, and my family's out of town until tomorrow. So
wow, Joe, that hurts. I'm right here.
I literally have nothing else to.
Yo, that out of town
nothing better to do other than hang out with me on a Sunday afternoon.
That family out of town drinking session is and it's weird because now I'm old now, right? So like it used to be a situation where I'm like, oh, I'm about to go turn up. But then after one or two at the crib, it's like, yeah, I'm not going in there.
It's like
this is hard napping.
If them plans ain't solidified by 6:30, fam, you will not see me.
For me, it's all like the whole build up of all the shit I'm gonna do, and then it's 7:00 and I just call it.
It's like, you start making them rain check texts like, hey, you text your man and be like, so what was you trying to do? Like,
Yo, I'm gonna see you in 3 months, bro. Like, see you at the next solstice.
See you next season.
So I guess tell the folks, a little bit about Wicked Weed and how. I mean, so how do you know each other? Like, I mean, how did that come to be?
Oh, wow. Well, so Wicked Weed started in 2012 in Asheville. And so we had a pub downtown. They weren't planning on kind of growing more than that initially. In that first year that they were open, it just blew up. I was living at the time a few hours east of Asheville.
He was living for sure.
Oh, I was living for sure. I was working at a food co-op, and then I got a job at a brewery in Greensboro, North Carolina, and then moved out to Asheville in 2014. And then Jen started, which really was the epitome of the growth of the company and all of its amazing things. Was
Yeah, I think everyone can kind of look back at that moment as like it's a real benchmark for the company.
Right.
But kind of prior to that, so Wicked Weed, it kind of opened. That original publication opened in December of 2012. Excuse me. And a year after that, we'll call it. It was in 2014. So like we made it in under the wire in 2012. But in 2014, we opened the Funkatorium, which was kind of the first sour beer bar in the Southeast. And it was pretty nuts because we were making all of our stuff.
The Funkatorium.
That's true. Yeah.
Is it funk or fung?
Funk.
Funk. Okay.
That funk.
That funk.
Excuse me, guys.
That's down the road.
But yeah, so
Brighter colors.
that opened up, and we were making all of our sour beer at least cellaring it in the back of this about 9,000 square foot space. So everything was still being brewed at the pub. We were running a full brew pub with self-distribution and a sour production program out of this tiny 15-barrel brew house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we kind of had these two facilities, and then in 2015 opened up a production facility about 20 minutes west of Asheville, 50,000 square foot, very open footprint. And so we built a brewery there for bottles and cans and kegs, all the draft stuff. So it was cool to be a part of that. And so I was more on the clean side, everything that was non-sour. And then Jen gravitated towards the sour side of things and all the very right brain creative process and approach to blending those different beers and wines is something that I enjoy. But I think I'm a little bit more. I'm not type A or anything, but I like working with bigger teams and making IPAs and all that. So it's been really awesome to have Jen speak to all the sour beer and stuff. So that's more or less what we do.
Yeah.
And where we're at in the company. But I guess we met at the pub in 2014.
Yeah.
15?
I think it would have been in 2015.
Yeah.
Because you were still there, but you were on your way out to the production spot. And then I was bartending at the Funkatorium I was having the time of my life.
I think you bartended.
He was getting funky.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was a great time. And so weaseled my way into the wood cellar, and then we opened up a sour production facility south of town.
Yeah.
And we started moving in kind of summer of 2016, but brewed our first batch in December of 2016.
It happened so quick, guys. It's just been like this crazy explosion of growth since the beginning. And so it's like, even hearing Jen talk about these dates and times, it feels like 10 years ago and yesterday.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
The 4 facilities in 4 years statistic was like a real, none of us realized that it was going on until we'd done it. And we were like, shit, we have all been working way too hard. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It's like the typical brewer, work hard for little pay because you punishing yourself with tri-clamps and hoses.
And you don't need to get paid that much because we're drinking gallons and gallons of free beer at the
it was like immediately the scales tipped to the free beer and food. So we're like, well, that's what we do anyway. Every time off.
Yeah, I think that's 98% of the food beverage industry. I definitely was not working at Eaton Party as long as I did for the excellent pay.
Well, the cookies.
The cookies were exactly. That's what it was.
But that happens in all industry, right? So if you got a sneaker connect, everybody got a guy that worked at Foot Locker or worked at the sneakers.
Yeah,
they had all the best sneakers.
Yeah,
all of their paycheck went to sneakers and maybe rent. But if they couldn't make rent, they would just sell their sneakers.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So you became the plug quite quickly. And you're talking. So we started this podcast. What was like 2014?
It would have to be 14.
And we got introduced to sour beers around 2016, maybe. I mean,
was that somewhere the Bloom around the Bloom Brew episodes when
the Bloom, Bloom. You know what I mean? Like so, like that was pretty like early for us in our like that. We like. I mean, that was a while ago. Like we were like, oh shit, what is? So I mean. And
they had a whole funkatorium.
Yeah, you had our full funkatorium already going on down there. You know what I mean, like so, like I guess what led to what led to that? I mean, it seems much harder.
Right.
I mean, sours, especially like is this wild fermented?
Yeah. So again, I feel I have no idea what beers we sent to you guys, but everything that comes out of the sour facility is you're having a little daylight right now.
Yeah, got a little daylight. We smashed that.
Daylight is
we smashed. We ran through that.
Sunday morning move, not a Sunday afternoon move.
Well, this is kind of morning because I had a long Saturday.
Okay, true. But yeah, so we kind of the sour program was really a pet project for one of our founders, Walt. And he loved sour beer and had been home brewing and had his own like sour culture that he was using, which is like, I mean, if you're a home brewer making sour beer, like that's peak nerd. And so he was peak nerd and opened a brewery, and it was very much this like, sure, Walt, do whatever you want, make sour beer, make Brett beer, whatever. And then in 2013, so this would have been. It was less than a year after we opened. So it was GABF in 2013, which is September, October.
Yep.
We took home gold for Brett beer. They're like unfruited Brett beer category for a beer that we make called Serenity. And at that point, I mean, obviously we were still a small brew pub, but it kind of put us on the map and put us on a map in a very big way, specifically with sour beer. So people started kind of paying attention to the sours that we were producing, which at the time were like Genesis, this white wine inspired, very tropical fruit blonde sour beer, Black Angel, which is kind of our flagship bourbon barrel aged because that's all we could get our hands on when we were really young. But dark sour beer with tart cherries. Just it really grew out of Walt's passion, and then that tiny bit of recognition just injected the sour program with a lot more interest and a lot more focus.
That tiny gold medal.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the tiny GAVF
the tiny
gold
we
medal
went
that
first.
we won.
Well, I mean,
It was like
yeah.
it was on after that.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm interested
And
though.
so-
Go ahead.
Well, I was just, I mean, since kind of that, we started in 2015 filling cool ships and like doing spontaneous fermentation. So we've always been inspired by Lambic and by Goose. And so everything that we had done up to that point and continue to do is all mixed culture, live culture. We don't pasteurize, we don't filter. So if you do want to reach peak nerd and homebrew sour beer, you can pitch some of our bottles in it. But yeah, so it's just a very, it's a labor intensive labor of love, that sour program.
So with that level of rapid growth, right? So you started end of 2012, you said, and then by 2014, you're now doing a second facility, right? Now, is that just passion driven, or is that driven by demand? Like, is the sour thing booming at that time? Was that purely the passion of your founder?
We were, I mean, I wasn't around, so I can't take credit for anything that was going on at that time. But we were also, I think, we were pretty early to the game for draft sour beer.
Okay.
And so we were distributing across the state of North Carolina and really generating this demand. And then because Asheville is such a tourist-driven city, and with all of our breweries, there's just a ton of specifically beer tourists. So if you're the type of person that's going to travel for beer, you definitely are going to go to a sour beer bar that has 16 unique sour beers all made at the same place on tap. So it was definitely, I mean, demand driven, interest driven. For us, it was a hustle, like getting that facility up and running and doing everything that we were doing out of the Funkatorium space. We were releasing a new sour beer or a new vintage of like something we'd already made every week. So every Thursday we had a beer come on that had been aged probably 8 months in oak. So we were like turning and burning in that tiny spot. But yeah, it was really just like the hazy boy culture where you have, brewery releases every week. We sell out. Things were hot and heavy with like tons of fruit in these beers, super aggressive fruiting and pre and post fermentation, and everything was so like the cost per barrel. All these things were so out of this world, but we were selling selling everything.
Were the cans were the cans volatile?
So we did we were also pretty early on those 500 ml bottles as well. Like the 500 ml people would come in and buy cases of sour beer.
Yeah. And they're like, $20.
Yeah.
15 to $20 a bottle. And
jeez.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. What a time to be alive.
A case of sour is a commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. A case of sour.
Commitment.
That's like a year for me. You know what I mean?
Isn't that? Yeah, that's so much. Oh my God.
That's a lot of sour. Like to follow up a sour with another sour. Like I'm drinking sour. I'm gonna go crack another sour.
I rarely finish one sour. I usually throw a little hazy in that motherfucker. You know what I mean? The hazy,
a little blend.
The hazy sour blend. Now I don't do it so much with the funky sours, with the you know what I mean. But like those kettles and the milky boys.
Yeah.
But so. Did your cans explode? Did your bottles all these fruited sours or whatever? Like I see these. That's one of my favorite genres of Facebook is like the exploding cans. Like it's hilarious. Like they're like, oh, it happened again, and then they're like, oh, and then they open their fridge and there's like 13 of them in there, and I'm like, who has enough money for 13? Like $15. But there's people that do it, and then sometimes they explode, and I don't even have beer long enough for it to explode. Like I get it, I drink it. And then if I don't, somebody else drinks it, right? You know what I mean? Like, so, but it is an issue. You know what I mean? Like, how do you, was that a thing was there ever a time where y'all were like, y'all have to figure it out? Do you still figure it out? Like, is that on the consumer? It's such a hot, debate, online. They were like, it's on the consumer, but it's on the, so how do y'all feel?
Yeah. No, we don't fuck with that shit.
You really don't.
All of our beers.
She switched the whole vernacular. Right?
No, it drives me nuts.
The whole Steve change.
She code switched. She was like, listen, you don't know me like that.
How dare you?
But no, it drives me nuts seeing that, like both as someone who, knows what is going into those beers technically to make those things happen, and feeling like that was something good enough to share with the market. That it drives me insane. And I think as a consumer, it's got to be super frustrating to be like, well, you've got to open this beer over the sink and cross your fingers and maybe repaint after you drink it. So I think, for us, we're adding a ton of fruit. We do our highest fruiting rate is about 4 pounds per gallon. And it's all fermented out. So when we're putting our beers into package, we'll look at that finishing gravity and we'll partially carb it, knowing that we're going to pick up a little bit of carbonation in bottle just due to the nature of Brett in our house culture. But we've never had explosions.
We've got a very elaborate, especially now, post-acquisition, our lab and quality assurance and quality control program is very robust, but it's always been such a standard of Wicked Weed, quality, safety, a very, very close second. They should be in harmony, but we've done some really stupid things in the past.
I still tuck my pants in my boots, so I'm bringing that safety down to number 2.
Ooh,
that was
a soggy socks.
Yeah. But just speaking of the quality, we're always making sure that what our intention is in the bottle when it's packaged, and we don't want to have any variable that we are too stubborn not to control be present, whether that's too much sugar or oxygen or carbonation. We can measure all those things. And so to be able to apply it to something like sour beer, which is very elusive and has it develops in the bottle, much like a wine, and you can store it cold, you can keep it at cellar temp, and it'll continue to develop. And so we just never have. I don't know any bottles that we've opened from our vintage stash from 2014 to now that are like bombs in the bottle. So
no, and we got a new bottling line in 2018 and changed our bottle shape. And so we were like, we've got to let's see if we can get one of these motherfuckers to explode. So we cranked up our carb level going into package to 3 volumes, which is like at that point probably the highest kind of post-production carb level we had seen in any of our beers. And the last time that we actually like pierced it and checked CO2, it was up to 4.15 volumes. And those bottles are doing just fine. And it has the most beautiful foam you've ever seen in your life when you pour this beer into a glass. So yeah, I mean, we're maybe it's just that our bottles are stronger than those exploding cans. I don't know, but yeah, no exploding packages from us.
Yeah, my favorite part about this interview is that, like, with the Zoom background or whatever, like, you know what I mean? Like Joe is very like strong here, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like Jen is like a spirit, and it's like we're having a seance. And like, I mean, every time she's speaking, she's just like, we're gonna lose her. It's like, oh, we have to align spirits to bring Jen back. It's it's hilarious.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with the background. This is actually just how I appear in person.
You watch Scanner Darkly way too
Nah, you got me wondering what really goes on in that Funkatorium. What type of science is really happening over there?
So, what is it about Asheville? I mean, that makes it this, like, because the way that I see, so my I got connections, roots in North Carolina, family and whatnot or whatever. But like. Politically, it's like Florida with a church hat, right? I mean, like it's very, conservative and racist and religious and, all
America?
of the, yeah. Okay. I mean, but it's specifically this church hat portion of it. And then you have these you have like Asheville that pops up and it's like, oh, you can get seitan, like sandwiches and shit, like, next to the, brewery. Like what makes it kind of this oasis in North Carolina? I mean, is it? I mean, like, it makes it this destination with all of this like progressivism. I mean, like that seemingly, or is it not? Is it very, is it churchy on Sundays down there too?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think Jen and I'll have both good and different answers. I'm from Michigan originally and moved here in 2010 or 2012 to North Carolina, and then 2014 to Asheville because it's like this super diverse. Like a lot of different kinds of art. You're in the mountains, so there's lots of outdoor stuff to do, and then you've got all these breweries, and then for whatever reason, all these amazing restaurants, and so it's this very kind of like cool destination spot. You've got the Biltmore Estate, and then you've got the leaves in the fall. Everything's beautiful in the Smoky Mountains, but I mean, I think that all those things are a lot of fun. I don't know that I could speak to it like being super legit or real. I think you just have lots of different people that are, all kinds of different types of artists and some outgoing, like extroverted and introverted and so many different types of people. But I don't necessarily think that Asheville is diverse. You've got a lot of cool stuff, but it's not like a big city. I personally haven't lived in many big cities, but I just feel like it's a cool spot to live and there's lots of fun stuff to do. Everybody's super nice. I don't know if that like Southern hospitality is really what I feel when I'm here. I think people are really genuine.
Yeah, Southern hospitality is real. Yeah, I mean, like, it's like having my family from the South, but like growing up in the North, like visiting down there is just a whole different, I mean, like just coming down the way that people invite you in and just like everything is like, oh, nobody's in a rush and everything is just kind of like, oh, it's okay. Like it's warm down there.
They give you the benefit of the doubt. So up here, we just assume that you're going to do some fuck shit because it gets really cold. and people used to
Yeah.
steal blankets. and down there, if nothing else, we'll be comfortable from a weather standpoint. So that changes shit. Like I was just talking to my mans about like how different lifestyle is in California, like how much more at peace people are because they don't deal with all the seasons. They don't deal with
they
harsh
don't have
weather.
to fear dying in like a snowstorm.
No, they might get an earthquake.
Yeah,
a whole
and the earth may
Or
swallow them whole, and
the forest may.
Yeah, it's like
Burn,
bigger risk and reward to live
Yeah.
in California, you know?
Any coastal
Yeah.
state, you get the great weather, but then you also could get tragedy. But I think in the South, again, just the pleasant, the fact that, you know what, I can go outside. If nothing else, I could just go outside. I'm having a bad day. I can just go somewhere and just watch the wind blow in the trees. And that's calming and shit. So like, why would I be standoffish when I see someone? Like, I don't give a fuck what you doing. I'm chilling.
you're not in a rush to get anywhere.
Yeah,
I'm just like
I'm chilling, bro. Like,
75 and sunny, bro. We can take our time.
what you mad about? I gotta make you
This is what
mad.
we're doing.
Yeah, they're like, oh, whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's just a little bit of traffic. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's different when it's like 30 below zero and, yeah, I mean, 2 feet of snow. You're like, motherfucker.
Or even when it's 75, but you know this is one of 675 and sunnies that you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Like, I need to make the most out of this fucking day. I don't need your bullshit.
Gotta get to the bar.
I don't need your bullshit today, Tom. So now being in a city like that, and then obviously, you know, with Wicked Weed, obviously rapid growth all the time, right? How do you stay ahead when, you know, you have a ton of breweries around and, you know, the culture within is that you guys are always moving and shaking? Like, how do you keep your finger on what's next? You know, because you guys develop at a rapid pace. How do you keep up with that?
I feel like the last year and a half to 2 years has just been like so reactionary. We're just now catching up to a lot of the intense growth phases that we went through.
Okay.
And so I feel personally in my role that it's just everything's kind of like we can develop these small departments better. We can spend more time on, you know, building out the things that we need to get to make the best product. And so it isn't this intense number or volume play. Our production facility is built out, and so we can do about 100 or so thousand barrels out of that facility. And so that for us is, I mean, our company as a whole is going to do right over 100,000 barrels this year. And you look at that perpetual growth, what do you do after that? And a lot of it now is just we're focusing on quality, safety, and, you know, all the things to have like proper documentation of what we're doing, especially at our production facility.
Right.
But being able to spend more time being innovative downtown at the pub. We've got a 15-barrel brew house at the original location. And then at the Funkatorium, we've installed a 5-barrel brew house for R&D. A lot of that feeds the Funkatorium and the pub. That's a super awesome brewery. And then our sour facility is a 30-barrel that we're going to do quite a bit out of this year, more than we have in the last couple of years.
And I think too, I mean, Asheville, especially within the brewing industry here, is extremely collaborative. And that's something that, you know, I think the pub and the Funkatorium, like we were still making sour beer out of the funk, like we experienced a little bit more. But definitely like moving out to another facility, for me, it's been a little bit like putting blinders on and going, what do I really want to make? And, you know, whether it's what fruit do I want to work with, or fuck it, let's start making wine. Like we're really kind of at this point where we can go down any rabbit hole we want to, and really just explore and create things that we're excited about and passionate about. So I feel like hard seltzer. I'm just kidding.
It's a movement right now with that, though.
Smoosh.
It's a movement right now with the seltzer.
Smoosh.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's somebody's drinking it. My fiance loves that shit.
I mean, there's
man.
a whole
there's
one
Yeah.
cooler now dedicated to all the different seltzers.
No, it's not going anywhere. I mean, like, you know, it's
But yeah, it looks at like the better for you category. Is it botanicals? Is it
industry
low calorie?
terms.
Is it you know, all these things that really push what's selling? And we're a company that like we try not to follow any trends. Of course, we're going to see that this style is more popular this year and years past.
As I'm drinking a Dr. Dank.
Yeah, well, this is our crazy beer. I don't know if you guys have had this one yet, the Dr. Dank.
Do we have a Dr. Dank here?
Let me see.
Hold on, if that's
no, we have not.
We can do it now.
We've been drinking on this Pernicious.
Yeah.
Pernicious. Yeah, this is nice.
That's our flagship.
That's
biggest
okay.
volume brand.
Yeah. This seems like the thing that you come in and you say this is what we do, and then go from here.
I mean, between that and the daylight, they speak directly to like what he was talking about as far as system infrastructure efficiency, nailing shit down, and like making cool, crisp, clear beers. Like both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was going to go on a whole nother tangent about better for you because I mean, it's a weird. I don't know. I mean, when we're drinking alcohol, are we doing it for our health?
Yeah.
Are we
how much better can it be, dude?
Like I was like I don't pick up a beer and be like, ooh, let me burn some cat. Like it's just not a I'm trying to.
You never had a beer pre-workout?
What? Really? That's what that's how you do?
It's not how I do. It's just,
You said.
That's how I've done.
That's what you've done. You do pre. That's
Fam, first of all, when you have multiple kids, you'll have a beer at any point. That shit don't matter. Like, yeah, I still plan on working out. So the thing was, I planned the workout. The beer became necessary. So like, I felt like I was so committed to the workout that I still worked out. It was just after beer. You got a good belch out of it. That belch, you have a belch so good that it feel like your tummy went down a little bit.
Yeah, you feel new.
That six pack coming through.
Yeah, you feel new. No, I mean, but I use it as a reward. So it's the like, I'm more of a pain up front. Then then once it's over, it's over. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm checking out. We're done here.
But I
everybody
think,
go do something else.
Anatomically, it almost feels better to have it before, right? Because now I can at least work off whatever happened to it. Like if you work out then have a beer, you basically reverse some of those ab workouts you did. Whereas I belched mid-workout and my tummy went like it's excellent.
I think the only way to get me to work out would probably be more than one beer before a workout.
There you go. So now we're using beer to motivate. So now actually it is healthy.
Yeah. See, again, man, nah.
Mental health is a thing, man.
Mental health is a thing.
And
yes,
she said it.
Right.
Jen said
and that's what. If mental health is a thing, all beer is better for you.
But
right?
Jen spoke to it, right? Doing things that are meaningful to you, and that's what the pandemic has. If you want to take anything from it, it's pursue the things that you enjoy, pursue the things you have passion for, and you'll find success in that, right? You'll find this rapid growth and getting funkatoriums and shit. I'm so into this funkatorium. You just don't. I just imagine it looking like the Scooby-Doo mission.
It's super weird.
Bootsy is somewhere in that motherfucker. Yeah, I mean, he's serving the beer.
Y'all do concerts there?
Yeah.
We have a stage. We had people all through the.
I was about you can't have a funkatorium without a stage. That's got.
No, we had now in the back in that 9,000 square feet of production space, there is an event space back there. And so at one point we had like a stage, we would do comedy shows, we would do live music. We would do, anything that we could get back there. And then obviously during the pandemic when capacity was limited, we were really able to utilize all of that event space as extra seating just for the Funkatorium. So that we're super fortunate to be able to do that. That and both of our locations downtown have a lot of outdoor space. I think we felt guilty. Well, one, I wasn't going out anywhere. And two, I was like, I'm definitely not going to go to the pub or funk during quarantine because I don't pay for beer. And I was like, I don't want to take somebody's spot, But yeah, we've just started kind of breaching the pub and funk again.
It was actually
dangerous.
Actually 311 day.
Yeah.
Me and Eric.
That is a very Asheville comment. There's a 311
it's so
day.
Asheville.
So there's a band called 311, and every 311, they like celebrate this band.
This band are they from Asheville?
I don't know where they're from.
No,
they're from Omaha.
Y'all just
They're
adopted them?
Omaha.
They just popped up in like
That's because
I don't know where
Asheville,
where is 311 from. Like I just
He said Omaha.
They're
He knew.
from
This is-
Omaha.
Oh, they got the fuck out of there.
This is
Yeah, they
the
got the fuck
wildest
out of
thing you could
Nebraska.
possibly do in March. Yeah.
But in
It's like,
Asheville, you can expect good weather on 311. In Pittsburgh, ain't no telling what the fuck that gonna be.
Yeah.
311 could be rain, sleet, snow, hurricane. It could be anything here.
It's the first day of spring in Asheville. I'll just say that.
It's not. It's still like you're fucked if
I
you
feel like my
planted
dad's
anything
birthday is the
outside
first
by
day of
then.
spring.
But
What is
anyway,
the first day of spring?
that this year was just like we brewed a beer for it, whatever. It was just like things were starting to be a little bit more like people were getting vaccinated and we were feeling a little bit more comfortable going down to the pub. And so that was like the first time in over a year that we were able to do anything together. And there were like 4 of us.
And-
it's just like,
Yeah.
we want to
That's
get
enough.
back to.
That's enough.
And we used to, so I mentioned like at the Funk, we release a new beer every Thursday. So new beer Thursdays were like everyone got off work and everyone went to the pub and tried whatever had been tapped that day. So, losing new beer Thursday was a real hardship of the pandemic for us.
Jen and I did what was it, like a Instagram live
Oh my God. We were doing it
Every
was like
week.
yeah.
every week for like, I don't know, 10,
It was a while.
10, 12 times.
Yeah.
So we were doing our own thing for an hour and a half, and it was just, like 15 people, just like our parents.
Watching us drink on Instagram Live and
But
talk about beer.
But we were doing it through
Like
Wicked
us.
Weed. We were doing it through Wicked Weed, and it was just kind of cool. Like after that, we would do a happy hour with people at work or like the next day or something.
Yeah.
And it was just like a way for us to figure out how to like virtually meet and hang out and build culture and not let it die, because it's just so much of what we are is us bullshitting when we hang out on New Year Thursdays or, whenever we're down at the pub or hanging out. And it's so hard to stay motivated behind the mask and really try and, have good, like, big meetings and things like that. And so it's definitely been a weird part of it, but I think like we adapt very well to change. And so it's nice to, be coming to the other side of this whole thing, hopefully, whatever that means. And, being able to go down to the pub, be, around each other and make idiots of ourselves, really.
Super good at that.
You guys ever done a Goza bomb?
No.
I don't know what a Goza bomb is. I thought you guys didn't specialize in bombs in bottles.
This is a post-production at the bar concoction.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
so it started with Sierra Nevada's Ocho Vase, their Goza.
Okay.
And then you just drop like an Irish car bomb. You just drop put tequila in it.
Is that even? Are you allowed to say that now? Or
I don't think so.
know.
That's-
I don't. I don't know how white people judge white violence. Like white on white violence. Like it's cool. I don't know. I can't tell you not to slander your Irish fellows. Like but
I'm pretty sure I'm not. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm
yeah.
not Irish, so that
I'm
might be cultural.
and I'm Scottish. Thanks for noticing.
He's Scottish. I don't even. Like, it's wow. You're a country, but you're not a country. Y'all like each other, but y'all really don't. Like it's a weird. That whole island is y'all household is
It's a
real.
marriage. It's a marriage.
Yeah, that whole island is weird. Is like, but no. So it's a car
Tequila
bomb.
shot in a goze.
A tequila in a goza.
And then we perfect, exactly what I asked for.
Gers. Isn't there like gers, giz? How do you
So Goza versus
Guz.
so what you're talking about is German sour beer versus Belgian sour beer there.
Oh, is that what?
German-
Wait. Is that
okay.
really what it is?
German
Because I
sour
know
is
there's
okay.
like Goza and Gerza and Goza and all these different. Are you saying it's Germans versus the Belgians?
Yeah, so Goza, Gose, is like a kettle soured German wheat beer with salt.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something that's produced, if you're producing it on hot side and you're allowing it to actually sour in the kettle, or you're dosing in lactic acid down the line, or now there's even a yeast strain, I think from Walleman called Sour Vissier that will, it's just a standard sap strain, but it will actually produce lactic acid during fermentation. So kind of multiple ways to get to that very. I mean, you're looking at Gozas, you're looking at Berliner Weiss. So those are kind of the two German sour beers, whereas Belgian sour beer, Gueuze is the term. So GUEUZE. I was like, I'm about to do a.
It's like my last name.
Yeah, no, but yeah. So Gueuze or Lambic, and all of those are produced with, spontaneous fermentation. So you're sending hot wort into a cool ship. There's this open vessel. All these bacteria land on the surface of that liquid overnight as the wort cools. And then you send it into oak and let it age for 1 to 3 years. So
it's the most beautiful and like traditional way to make beer. And all the local native yeast and wild bacteria will ferment that. We use a local maltster, Riverbend, for all of that grain. And so the wort then meets all of the microbiome and that's in the air. And then we take that and put it into an oak barrel. And we did work with UNC, NC State has an agronomy, this really awesome dude who is their agronomist, and they have a hop research farm from Mills River, which is where Sierra Nevada's Malt Disneyland is at, which is probably one of the most recommended places to stop just outside of Asheville. And so we're able to create this amazing beer with all local ingredients. And I don't know, that to me is like the epitome of.
I save money on yeast. I don't have to buy it.
Yeah.
It's just there.
So you can you taste Asheville? Like, have you been like somewhere else and you like pick up a beer and it's like, is this from Asheville? Like, this tastes like 3rd Street.
Asheville, first off, Asheville's not that organized. None of our systems it's confusing as hell. But yeah, I mean, I do think kind of with that product, it is supposed to be this kind of, you're transported to a time and a place, and you're then kind of in commune with the people who made it. So I think it's a very special style of beer. Obviously, takes a really long time to make, and you have to be extremely optimistic about it. Because, I'm going to end up dumping, I would say, about 1/3 of those barrels just because they taste like absolute garbage. So, you have to really watch those weather conditions when you're knocking out. Try and select for certain yeast and bacteria just with time of year. Is it going to be super windy today? Let's knock out into the cool shit. So very special product. Definitely not, a lot of our other sour beers are produced using Walt's initial homebrew culture that has been propped up over the years. And we now call her cassette. So not all of our beers are produced spontaneously. But yeah, it's a cool little section of what we do.
Yeah, there's a huge barrel stock of cassette, and a percentage of that's blended into any new beer that Jen and her team creates. And so we do kind of for some of the beers, a primary Brett fermentation, and then we'll put that in with a blend of a percentage of cassette and let it age for X amount of time. And so you get this super, that stuff is living in that barrel warehouse. And so you have this really great representation of the blender's intention, and you're able to pull from so many different barrels. And so it's more of a blank canvas that you can really create anything on, based on a lot of metrics like pH and ABV, but mostly driven from a sensory standpoint. This thing smells like a baby's diaper. It's going down the drain. Or this has a really good barnyard and lemon note. You look at a whole blend and decide what the end result's going to be, but always having an intention for the end result.
That's a thing only a brewer with a barnyard and lemon. That's that is a flavor combination.
Barnyard and lemon.
Yeah, that's
it's wild, dude. Yeah, well, it's all about balance.
That's a beer name. Why is that not a beer name? Barnyard and lemon.
I'm over here. I'm sorry, and I was listening, but I'm just all into this Dr. Dank. This shit is
Sweet.
potent,
Isn't that crazy?
bro. Like, this
is
shit
it
is
danky?
crazy.
I ain't
It's
get into it
danky
yet.
as hell.
I'm still on this perny over here.
I did like an inward belch, and I was like, oh.
Was it the one that get caught up?
Yeah,
and
get
it
caught,
stuck?
and then you can feel it expand, and it go through your nose. I
That
fucking
hurts.
love this
Them
shit.
shits
No,
hurt.
but it was clean. It was a clean belch. It
Yeah?
wasn't a stingy one.
No, the ones that get caught like in the middle. And then,
Super. So tell me about this, because this is like,
Isn't that wild?
I mean, Dr. Dank doesn't disappoint. Like it's very true to its name.
I see what you did there.
So, Dr. Dank,
Alliteration at its best.
it's something that we've been working on for a few years now, and the whole intention is to have how do we create this beer that's either got hemp or cannabis in it, and how can we get that aroma and flavor, but not make it be like so off-putting that it's building over each sip. And so we kind of work with some natural flavors. And so there are flavor houses, just like malt houses and anything else. These companies that are creating different flavors that are pulled from natural ingredients. And it's when you really dig down to the bottom of it, it's just a chemical compound that's either extracted through a few different methods from a plant. In this case, grapefruit. And so we've got a really beautiful grapefruit kind of, you've got kind of the oily, waxy nature of it. And it's almost to me the same as like a tomato vine or the
Black currant shoot is the
black currant shoot.
Yeah.
So like just smelling not the tomato itself, it's the tomato vine. And so you have this really earthy thing going on, which was our attempt at limonene, a compound that's found in hops, but also cannabis and hemp, that really is kind of that skunky note. And then we're also using a natural flavor that's based off of King Louis strain. So we had all these different strains, worked with a lot of different companies to figure out the right kind of chemical makeup of what we wanted, because we didn't want it to be too skunky. We didn't want it to be too like pine or more hop driven. We wanted to have that top note be like, just cannabis, a little bit of citrus,
Right.
And then it finishes so it isn't building. And then the base of it, we're using Citra hops and then Strata or Strata, depending on where you're at, and
or
Ott, if you will. And so it's a really cool beer that's, we had to figure out, like, we want to make a big IPA. So we did, and then we put those flavors in it, and it was really confusing. It's too muddled. It wasn't balanced. And so we lowered our pounds of hops added per barrel so that could kind of stand out as that initial top note. But then you drink it and you get pine and citrus and some of the more familiar hop flavor and aromas that you're accustomed to with an IPA. But yeah, it's still 7.1%. And it doesn't, what I love about Dr. Dank, you can drink more than one. It's not like amplifying, off-putting flavor that I've experienced in some of the other, you can't really say terpene but
beers.
You definitely can't say a terpene bomb, but like it has like this very beautiful top note that I think is really going to push the envelope for future IPAs at Wicked Weed, but also just brewers being okay with using things that are really, natural flavor. The way it's produced isn't like greasy or dirty or anything. It's all steam distillation and carbon dioxide separation extraction. And so we feel good about it, want to be very transparent with our intention, but it's always like find that like little hidden aroma that takes a little, over the edge a little bit. It makes it a fun thing to drink.
No, you all nailed it. Like so it feels like when you first open a bag and your deal's like, smell this. It feels like you can, even the belch is like
Hold
that.
on, let me get into that.
Yeah, see, I'm getting excited, but it's a really like it was a refreshing. I mean, it was a refreshing kind of take on it, right? So it's not a big IPA in taste. It doesn't feel like a big IPA, and it doesn't drink like a 7-1. I mean, I know Day and I and you all we drink more often, but a 7-1 typically. You can feel.
I'm starting to feel these 7-1s these days, man. I'm getting old.
But you won't feel this. You'll get.
Yo, man, that pandemic, like, I took a dry month coming back, man. These motherfuckers 7, I'd be like, this.
But try that, and it's got good head pause. But like, you'll get caught up just in the feel and aroma of it. Like I was over here,
I can
y'all
just
was talking,
sniff
I'm
this.
just sniffing. It's like
just
super
the
aromatic,
sniffers,
and that maintains throughout. It's still clean, it's still crisp. It's you nailed it. Y'all, I see y'all got the little bong. Y'all don't call it a bong. It's got the little, I don't know, what are those?
It's
Beakers.
Is it the beaker?
Little science lab.
chemistry equipment is what the TTB knows
Yeah.
about.
Who's doing the art?
That is so for Dr. Dank and Pernicious, it's both of those are Howell Goldson. And he used to do, if we sent you guys some sour beer, he probably did the labels. Before he came to us and started doing beer labels and just tons of other stuff, he was a background artist on Squidbillies. That was like one of the things that...
Okay, I can see it. I can see it.
But he's done a couple, he's done a couple other labels kind of around the industry. I think New Belgium's The Hemperor. We're just talking about Dr. Dank.
Hemperor.
I think that Hemperor was a Howell Goldson label.
What? Was Pernicious, was that him?
Perny was him.
Yeah.
All of those weird, the weird, like, I mean, they kind of look
All
like
the fish
hot
tank
dogs,
shit.
but not. Yeah. So super, super wonderful artist, very cool guy. He also did this insane UV reactive mural in the bathroom area of our fine dining restaurant. So you're like sitting in, it's called Cultura. So you're sitting in Cultura having a wonderful meal. And then you're like, all right, let me go to the bathroom. And you step into this little kind of annex area and you feel like you're about to play laser tag or something. So it's a very funny juxtaposition of spaces. But yeah, an amazing artist, Dr. Dank. I mean, the label, the can looks great.
So what is your process? Like, how does a beer make it? You know what I mean? Like you
there's got to be an end to that
that's
question.
it. Like, how does a beer make it? Like, I mean, like we're drinking it. The Dr. Dank didn't start out in a can and shipped all the way up here. You know what I mean, somehow somebody just got to brewing something, and then somebody said we should do that. Like, how does that process?
Dr. Dank started with bong water.
Yeah. How do you go from
We're
bong
like,
water?
man, I want to drink that.
Yeah. How does it go from bong to can? Right. You know what I mean? How does it start as an idea? I mean, like, what is your process?
So the way that I look at it as the brewmaster is we have one of our founders, Walt Dickinson, is such a visionary, and he's like, almost to a fault, just pushing the envelope on things, putting good pressure on me and Jen to, come up with and create these, ideas. And so you have this very elusive kind of right-brained brainstorming session. And then we come up with a few different samples. And so the way that Dr. Dank is a good example, even though it was kind of 3 years worth of work, the last year and a half is really when we had the first test brew of Dr. Dank. And so we've got a 3-barrel or around 100-gallon brew house at our production facility. And so what we do is we'll kind of like build, like, what do we need? What does marketing want to do? What does Walt, want to do? And he, kind of helps balance both of those things. And so we get, the ABV, a little bit of direction on aroma, color, these kind of easy things. Are we going to do a West Coast or East Coast IPA? Is it going to be hazy? Is it going to be bright? Like, where are we going with that? And so we just basically develop 2 or 3 brews, taste those over the next month and a half or so, and then we just narrow that. So typically it'll be 8 to 10 brews for a brand like Dr. Dank on that 100-gallon scale before we get to something that we're ready to brew, in my mind, at the pub. See if the customer enjoys that, see what they think, look on Untapped, get some, really awesome advice from people. They give it 1 star.
Always look at Untapped. Always look at Untapped.
But we want to get that good feedback to get as much sensory feedback. You're not always going to win. I'm not going to, sit here and say that the customer is always driving how we change the things we make. But what we do is we just, fine tooth comb, splitting hairs, looking at these little nuances to see how we want to push it in a certain direction. So typically it'll be those 8 to 10 beers. Pilot brews, we'll brew it at the pub, and then in that time we're creating artwork. If it's a brand that wants to be, that the sales and marketing team want to put into the craft space, and then we assign a time value. And this is kind of coming back to that reactionary, because we were just making shit because it was cool, and then we put it out in the market and see. And now that we have such a huge pipeline of distribution, we can handle the pub producing things and the sour program producing things for smaller entities or more local restaurant groups and things like that. So we can actually see how it sells at a larger scale without running as much of a risk as when we open our production facility and we took our like 8 or 9 favorite brands and tried putting it in package. And so I think a part of that eventually will fall under, do we have people that are helping us see what trends are going to be in a year? Is Yuzu really going to take off in 2022? I don't know. But we're ready to have a very kind of systematic approach. And so I think that even though I'm not like that systematic approach guy, I'm very artistic. I find creativity and it kind of fills that void by tracking it from start to finish so that, Jen, or some of our R&D brewers can be creative and then help carry it through the Tax and Trade Bureau, help kind of, monitor marketing, creating a label and seeing if that fits with what the federal government and state government wants on a label.
Dr. Dank was a really questionable one.
Oh, it was a dinger.
Oh, yeah,
To put hemp seeds on that label took me like 3 months.
And we're called Wicked Weed Brewing, so they were like, "Come on, guys!"
Y'all were double dipping. Like y'all were going hard on this one.
I know.
I mean, like that's wild.
Hemp seeds don't add anything to the beer at all, and it's just the word hemp. So you look at those types of things, and you're like, well, yeah, like for me, I'm happy with it because it's a testament to like how hard it was to like go through all these legal loopholes, but
should have just changed it to brewed with seeds and stems.
Just seeds and stems.
We ain't buying that. We ain't gonna buy that.
Stress.
You get blonde water on
the
So
brewer foraged bong water.
there we go.
So I mean, Untapped, the folks, the breweries. I mean, like the people that are usually the loudest. The folks that are like, they're the typical folks, right? Like, how do you reach new audiences? How do you find the new folks? Like, because we all know the craft beer geeks are like, it's gotta be. It's like, they're all, Untapped is, everybody knows what this goddamn loud wasteland of folks with too much time and internet connections. So like, how do you expand into new audiences that don't, look as much like Joe, right? How do you
moving
find
forward black people?
Yeah.
Women
or any of the non-Joes. Not your average Joe, right?
Are you still accepting breweries for Barrel and Flow Festival? But no, I think that we do. We're in like very strategic markets, and especially even when we were younger, obviously when you're opening up a state for distribution, you open up that entire state. But we never said we're opening up Massachusetts. We said we're going to open up Boston, or we're going to open up New York. Like, we're just trying to keep it extremely just curated as far as like where those beers are going. Are they going to markets where like craft beer drinkers already exist, or are they going to markets where we can kind of be the first one available there? So we've definitely, now I think we're sending just the majority of our beer is staying in the Southeast, which I think probably generates a little bit of excitement and curiosity for folks, like you guys who were not, we were distributing in just Philly for a little bit. But yeah, it's always a battle trying to get people to drink craft and to really be endeared to the product. We're lucky that we have these two, very popular consumer facing spaces in Asheville. So we're getting a ton of people, again, kind of from the Southeast coming to visit. And they go home and then they see us on a shelf and they go, oh, I went there. Like, I know what that company's about. I know their culture now, and I'll buy their beer. So yeah, I mean, it's an ongoing task for all of us, for sure.
So when you identify a market where you want to be, that brewery that introduces craft more or less to it or whatnot, what's the beer that you send?
Bernie. Yeah. I think,
that dank through.
The dank. Yeah, we can take enough of it.
You'll reach some folk.
Yeah. I guess that's the thing, right? Because like, and I guess that's the question is because like everybody is like, and it's the hop, right? When you think craft beer, you think hoppy IPA. You know what I mean? And like for us, this is mid, you know what I mean? Like it's not like it's not like Hop Devil, it's not like crazy, you know what I mean? But
I thought you were about to be like, it's kind of mid-grade. It's not the best thing we've ever had.
No, I'm like,
we're getting very like weedy on this.
The IBUs, the hops or whatever. It's dope or whatever. But like, what if that area is more like a lager town, right? Or like, maybe they were a town that might be more of a sour town, right? Like, you know what I mean? Or like, how do you, and then, how do you develop those? Where like, yeah, because not every town is gonna be like, that's that one, right? You know what I mean? Like, or is Perny just their number one seller everywhere every time you drive, or do you pick the towns that would like Perny, or do you pick towns and then tell them to like Perny, or do you or do you listen and go, what do you like,
or do you always send Perny and then choose the second, based on the demographic of that?
It's definitely a rollout, and as far as the strategy goes, you start with what's the distribution network, and so through Anheuser-Busch, we've got these big distribution networks for different hubs, and so Florida, for example, we opened up Florida 2 years ago. Our big distribution hub was in Jacksonville, and so the first thing we did was so for all of our IPAs, for most of our brands, they ship cold, and so from the time that they're packaged to the time that they reach the retailer, they're shipped. It's a cold chain supply. So that's kind of the first thing that we have to validate. And we look at that wholesaler. We put temp trackers inside of our, outside of the kegs and pallets of packaged good. And then we just Bluetooth it to validate that they're actually cold storing it. A lot of these things are attached to the UPC. So when the distributor sees it, one of those barcodes means that it's got to be cold stored. So we validate then that when it gets shipped there, it's going into the right reefer storage, and then we can track the time through other inventory software from when it goes from that wholesaler to the retailer. And all of our IPAs are 75 days, so it's a pretty strong move. Most IPAs are from small to big breweries. Even within the AB network are double that or 1.5 times that shelf life. And so what we kind of compromise is that we have to be more like short order cooks to say, okay, the distributor's given us 3 to 4 weeks notice, but really it's more like 2. And so we have to predict what we think is going to sell in that market. So because of that model, we'll typically show up and we're rolling out, like we rolled out in Alabama and Mississippi earlier this year. We took out, 4 to 6 beers, maybe a couple more than that for tap takeovers and things. But you look at what's selling in the other regions, and then you kind of follow suit and see what they like. Pernicious is the brand that we make the most of, and so we want to keep that going up until we decide that the quality isn't as strong as it needs to be. The bigger you go, the more beer you have to make. If it isn't made at our facility, then it's going to have to be cross-brewed or brewed at another brewery within the Brewers Collective. So that's the BCBU, which is the kind of first envelope umbrella that we're under. I love envelopes.
I was like, where is he going with the envelope?
Yeah. But I'm a fucking brewer, but I know all this stuff. just because I like to drink with the sales guys to make them feel less than great about themselves. And so it's, you look at all these different things that go into it, but really you have this giant pipeline where our success isn't going to stop because of the acquisition and all the footprint that we can be in. But it's, what does that mean to Wicked Weed? We're in this giant group. The CBA was fully acquired earlier this year, or in
it was like January last year. I was
there's like this gap of time.
I know, 2020 didn't happen, so
I know.
Instagram lives and Zoom happy hours.
Yeah, I keep saying last year's festival. No, motherfucker, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah. So just that's kind of like our whole thing is that we're just growing and trying to figure out how to hold quality at the highest standard and not kind of drop a knee and just submit to the giant beast that is the largest brewery in the world. And they help us out in any way that we need. We got to push back when we're really passionate about things like cold storage and shelf life and sourcing the right hops year over year for the brands that we think are the ones that are the best. And all that procurement and sourcing it comes with really strict standards through Anheuser-Busch, and I think that they hold the standard to the malt that we get, to the hops that we get, to the yeast, and especially things like water, tracking all the water chemistry between facilities. It's the reason why you can get Budweiser in Japan and it tastes the same as in Germany or Mobile, Alabama. It's like the testament to tracking that data is what I want to use to help grow this company, but within reason. There's going to be process aids and instrumentation that inhibit the growth of pernicious eventually, and then we just kind of work through that to the next thing. So with a company that has so much innovation and so many different brands, we're destined to succeed in the sense that we'll always come up with something because we're just stubborn.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing, man. It's consistency. Like you said, to be able to get the same beer in Japan or Wyoming, and the shelf life, that it holds. Like, it's just that is a feat of science and engineering.
That was impressive, bro. Like I'm sitting here like, they got Bluetooth trackers on the temperature on the shipping.
Yeah,
we are assholes about cold chain storage.
Nobody likes what we're doing.
Yeah,
Ice Cube, he was in a commercial where they were talking about the can to tell you it's cold.
Yeah. Drinking
the that's not impressive.
Yeah, man,
it's cold the whole way here.
Man, don't get me started on the motherfuckers. But but
it's cold now.
Yeah,
you don't even have to touch it.
Yeah, I can't pick it up. I can't. Okay, so but I do want to say that is a good burp. That Dr. Dank gives you good. That Dr. Dank comes back up nice.
That belch come through.
I was going to recommend if you're looking for a beer to drink while you're wearing a mask. Dr. Dank always has the
I agree. That not many beers I judge coming back up, but that one was like let's
and
do
it
that
don't
again.
hurt. The belch is not offensive at all.
It's enjoyable. It's an enjoyable belch.
Smooth belch.
It's very.
That's why you get 5 bottle caps on Untapped.
That's what it is. It's
not retro nasal. It's retro intestinal. Retro abdominal.
It may even be slightly better coming back up, just because. I mean, the aroma.
I don't know if I'm not gonna disrespect.
Disrespect
him to say that.
The aroma. That is what makes it the greater beer, right? I mean, there's a lot of beers that go down well, but how do you come back, right? We're all gonna give a little what is your looking like, right?
I do judge a lot of beers.
You've at least got the bar, right? If there's a belch bar, Dr. Dank right now has said it.
Yeah.
So everything that I think I drink from now on will have to meet the Dr. Dank belch bar.
I don't like the belch, the silent belch that ends up in your nostril, like tingling the nostril.
Yeah.
There's something wrong. What's the science behind it? I feel like y'all know the science.
That sounds like some exploding candle.
I was about to say, that sounds like a bomb. Yeah, that sounds like a chemical weapon. That's a biological. We need to check that at customs. Before we let y'all go, what is your favorite forms of potato?
Oh, hands down, fried on my flat top grill with white vinegar. So what I do is I soak the potatoes, cut them up. You said potato, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Doesn't matter what he said.
He did
Doesn't matter what he said. Just tell your recipe. This is you've been wanting to get this off your chest.
He had that on top.
He loves talking about potatoes. Yeah.
He was ready, so just go ahead. Don't matter.
So cut them, cube them, and then soak them in water, cold water. I dump that first water out, fill it back up. My wife puts a little salt in there. I put just vinegar in. So whatever, a little vinegar, white vinegar, a little salt. Let that sit for like 3 to 4 hours. Then just take that mix off of that.
It's called a brine.
Get that brine. Then just get that flat top hot as shit, and tons of butter or pork fat if you're at my house, and then cook that. Fry those up. 5 minutes before they're done, put your ribeye or steak or chicken or whatever on the other side, and just let all that juice just get in the best way I think to have
Flavor
food.
babies.
I'm a this will sound boring as all hell, but boiled, but only in low country boil.
I don't
So like shrimp, sausage, corn, and a shit ton of Old Bay.
Boil your potatoes?
Yeah, you stop. You kept going, and we needed to understand. You boil potatoes,
Yeah.
Like with the skin on?
like mashed
so
potatoes.
in a-
You mash them.
So in a
What
low
kind-
country
What kind of
boil,
potato? Red potato?
no, yeah, red potato,
Yukon.
like some really like a young,
Medium.
a mid-grade potato.
Yeah, maybe.
And then so it's going into the pot first in your low country boil. You're going to be flavoring that with andouille, with
Old Bay.
shrimp, with so much Old Bay, with so much lemon, and then all
You
of
mean like
that.
a
like a
seafood boil?
seafood boil.
Yes.
That's not a
Okay,
potato
well,
boil.
you gotta
That's
lead with that.
Yeah.
Seafood is integral to this.
Yeah.
No.
I was just thinking of a
Potatoes are
potato
definitely
and
like
water.
that.
That shit didn't make sense.
They're a side dish. You know,
potato
they're not,
boil.
they're not
That's
the
not how
leading
we know
role.
it.
Yeah. But down here that's a low country boil.
The seafood
those
boil
are
is
my
called
favorite
low
potatoes.
country boil in Asheville.
Yeah.
So it is? Okay.
Well,
And the potato is the center of it.
no, I think for me it's always seafood is going to be the center
it's
of
like
that.
corn,
sausage.
sausage,
Yeah, shrimp,
shrimps.
some shrimps.
Yeah.
But
That's a stretch on the potato one. I don't know if I could.
I mean, she enjoys the potatoes involved in that boil. Would you eat those potatoes outside of that boil?
No, absolutely not. No.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the potato got to be the star in this one. You know what I mean?
Correct.
You started with it, and then you hit us with the
potato
okey doke.
is-
That was a bait and switch. That was a bait and switch. You came
I
in
don't
with
know.
potatoes, and then you threw it in, and then it was like, oh well, it's just there.
I think
I'm gonna have to
bacon
defend
fish
you.
is a better name than low country boil for what I just talked about.
I'll defend you here
Low
because
country boil could be a lot.
because Joe snuck a steak in his.
He did sneak it.
And there's no way the potato
I did,
was
yeah.
the star of that show.
No, but the steak.
Well,
No.
No.
The steak was on the side.
No,
and
no,
it
the
came in
steak
at the
ain't
end.
on
and
the side of potatoes.
No, it was
ain't
on the side.
Ain't
And
no,
it came in.
It's not a restaurant you will ever go to that has potatoes and steak.
What are you talking about?
No, they have steak and potatoes.
They have steak and potatoes.
They don't
yeah.
have potatoes and
But
steak.
it's still a form. I guess
steak
if
ain't
you,
on the side.
Yeah, you're right. This is still a side. And
1
yeah,
pound
you're
of
right. All right,
potatoes, and 6 ounce steak.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got an ally in me, Jim.
The potato is the side in this low boil. So yeah, okay,
Shanghai debate team 2003 in
accept
this
it.
bitch.
We'll accept it.
Debate
Low
team
country
03.
boil is your favorite form of potato. That's the first time. Those are two of the first.
Potatoes contained within a seafood.
Yeah,
boil.
no, I mean those are two of the most original answers. That was definitely the most excited one that we've ever
Well, he
had.
was definitely
he was
ready.
on top. Yeah, he
He
was
had it.
waiting for it. He was like, "Who wants some potatoes?"
He had
Right?
it listed. He had measurements.
He throws that
He
in
had-
casual
he had
conversation. I'm
Cook
like,
time. Prep time. You know, everything you needed. He laid it
Yeah.
out. It was very. So
Yeah.
you are very okay. I see. You are very structured in how you approach
You
things.
just
I
be at a
appreciate
meeting
that.
and just be like, man, so the potatoes I was boiling the other day. Like, he'll just pull it out in conversation somehow.
I
Like,
use white vinegar.
oh,
and
man, I
I'm
ran out
good,
of potatoes. Oh, don't you hate that
It's like I'll just go to bed.
And a steak on the side.
shit? Oh,
So let the people know where they can find either yourselves or Wicked Weed, how they can find your various facilities.
We're on the socials, so we're Instagram. I don't have Facebook. I assume that we're there. Please find us on Untapped and let us know what you think about everything that we're doing, especially the potatoes. But yeah, as far as kind of finding our beer, obviously our locations in Asheville. I think our distribution down here, South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina for sure, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida.
Yeah.
Where else are we?
At my friends' houses from time over time, Colorado a little bit, but we've had distribution across a few different states that we're not in, but Southeast definitely from where Jen was saying, but
Virginia.
Virginia is another one.
Virginia.
Yeah.
DC,
Tennessee,
Baltimore. Yeah.
But it's around, and hit us up. Me and Jen are always in Asheville, and if we're not traveling for work, so we'll buy you a beer if you come down.
All low country
promise. That's a promise. You have to reference this episode, and Jen and Joe both have to buy you. That's 2 beers.
Just find the bearded white guy and tell him that he owes you.
You gonna confuse people now. They're gonna go in the breweries grabbing, accosting mad random bearded white gentleman. There's a bearded white gentleman in the studio right now.
I feel like that would still
behind these barrels.
I guarantee he owes you a beer. Yeah.
I feel like it would work on any bearded white dude in Nashville though. Like like he would still be like, well, all right, come on with me, follow me.
Some of the best bearded white dudes in the country here.
They just assume you do it. They're like, well, all right, I don't know. But I fit the description.
That's not something you've ever heard a black man say before. They let the people know where they can find us.
Oh, man, if you're looking for us, you can find us on epicastnetwork.com/partnerspod. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, Google Play, and Spotify under Drinky Partners. You can find us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook at PartnersPod. And on September 10th through the 12th, you can find us at Southside Works, PGH 15203 at barrelandflow.com. And some of these folks out here, Black Horizon, War Cloud, Allagash, Trillium, Other Half, Revolution, Trogs, Isla Street, Brooklyn, East End, Brew Gents, Beale Street, Crowns and Hops, Alematic, man. Like, the list goes on. 75 breweries, 45 collabs, 4 stages, and 3 days of programming, man. Check it out, both in person and virtually. $10, man. Get your ticket, get your beer from Tavor shipped to you in 25 states. And, even if you happen to be in the UK, for some reason, you happen to live on that island over there, and I don't know what the UK is. Is it Scottish? Is it Ireland? I don't know. But if you happen to be on that island and near Cloudwater, check us out over there, both live and in person. The English channel on the DigiFlow this year. And again, details and tickets, barrelandflow.com.
Hey, listen, we want to thank our guests, Joe and Jen, for coming through, kicking it with us, spitting knowledge, mad beer knowledge, right? Like y'all into it for real. Like y'all brewers for real. But it was
the
great
best seance
conversation.
I've ever been a part of.
You were the seance. Like, you are still disappearing. Like
where can you find me? No fucking clue.
She's everywhere.
Definitely enjoyed the beer. That Dr. Dank has changed my perspective.
There's a Belch bar.
There's a Belch bar now, and you all have said it. So we appreciate you spending time with us. As always, Drinking Partners is the crew. Epicast is the fam. And we out.
Thank you so much, guys.
Awesome.
Hey, this has been dope. Thank you so much.
Thank you for all the merch and all that.
Yeah, this is a dope experience. We actually are looking at coming down to Rocky Mountain in October. A couple of folks down there. A couple other folks I've been drinking, but doing a little bit of a festival or whatnot. So yeah.
Yeah, please do.